Hello, everybody. It's Between the Lines. It's the holiest week of the year. It's Holy Thursday, and tomorrow will be Good Friday, and Sunday will be Easter. And there's nothing more important. We apologize for nothing. We're Christians here, and we respect everybody, but we're excited that the Easter weekend is here. All our friends around the country. We have friends that watch us in Florida, Colorado, and different places, different families. So we're very appreciative of all our watchers. A lot online, and everybody, we've gotten a new higher channel, which we need to advertise more, I think, on the television part of it. Well, 1086? Yes. 1086 on your Comcast dial. The good news is, if you live in Knox County, 1086, you can watch us as well. So we're going to start expanding some of that. We're excited. We got a lot to do. A lot of political races coming up. We got rid of Daniel Forrester and Jamie Brooks and Evan Hauser. All of them are done. Congratulations to Daniel Forrester, who we appreciate, spent a lot of money advertising with our station, as did Jamie, Judge Brooks. So we're ready to go. We got a couple of big races coming up and a lot of critical school board races. Here goes my coughing fit, Brad, right at the beginning of every show. But tonight we're talking taxes. Your taxes are due on April 15th. That's one thing most Americans know. It's changing. It's changing. Less people are getting money back because the rules are getting a little tighter. You're not withholding enough money. I paid $5,900 extra this year. I'll be straight up with you because we have a lot more. We have a lot more things that factor into what you withhold and what you don't. And we're going to talk about that. We're lucky we have with us tonight, Leanne, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people. Can we get a phone number on her, Brad, somewhere on there when we get time? Just so people know where to call to get their taxes done. We still have time. You're taking customers,
Perfect.
right?
Yes, I'm still taking
Her
customers.
son's very bright. She has a good team over there. And she's located in Jackson Square, right where Mike Ritter's old office used to be, right down in the Colonial Buildings, where the great Don Layton began his career down there and worked down there on the right. Those were some great old days. I can't say enough about what a good job she does. And, it's kind of like finding a tree guy or finding a chiropractor or there's less of everybody. I mean, it's just harder to succeed in business and everything else. Yes. So I will ramble less as we go on, and we will talk more about everything. Tell us, Leanne, about your business and what kind of accounting you do first. Just an overview. Where are you from? You're friends with Kim Frazier. I think that's a neutral, but we'll call it a positive, right? I mean, I love Kim.
I feel like it's a positive.
Yeah, we'll give her a positive.
We'll give her a positive. Yes.
She's become a power broker, so we have to kind of be careful with her now.
Fair enough.
What a good person. What a good human.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
So, Leanne Sanford with P&L Business Services.
Okay.
We are a full-service bookkeeping firm.
Okay.
We do everything from payrolls to federal income tax returns.
How much of your business, and you've expanded your customer,
Yes.
you're relatively new in the market. I mean, you had other accounting jobs, but how many of your customers are businesses that you actually do services for on a month-to-month basis?
I have 83.
Gosh.
Yes.
You're
Yep.
like ADP. That's a lot of people.
Yep, right now we have about 83
Wow.
month-to-month clients that we do everything from just reconciling their books to we run their payrolls, we enter their bills, pay their bills, do their invoicing. We get their checks at our office.
You do a little bit
post.
for me.
We do everything, yeah.
You'll send out 1099s,
Yep,
so you'll do
absolutely.
this, absolutely.
Yeah.
In addition to actually filing taxes
Yes,
and doing that.
yep.
I'm going to
Taxes-
expand that. I'm going to expand.
Yeah.
I get paid by check service. I mean, not
Yeah.
me personally, but some of my customers will say, well, I've ordered the check, it'll be there in a week.
Yeah.
And I always say, you ordered a check. What do you mean? Well, they got some payroll service that mails it out. It takes about a week to get it to you. So you do that. You may pay people and take in
Yeah,
money.
we pay people. We hardly write any actual paper checks
Right.
to, and payroll. It's all direct deposit and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we do a little bit of everything. We pay bills,
Yeah.
send invoices,
And
get money.
And
all of it.
you send stuff to me, like I went down to print out, and it gets me so frustrated, Brett. She gets in, she goes, I get it, it's a read-only file, and I can't print it, and I can't do this in my work. Now I gotta go with this code. I just wanna look at the notes for tonight, right? Send it to me in Word. I kid her all the time. But I'm just not modern enough. I use my phone for most things. If I have to print something, I go to my house and get it printed, right? But I try not to, obviously work is different, so I don't do much at work, so, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, so taxes.
Taxes.
We're going to talk taxes, federal taxes. Let's go with your notes, because I know you're very pragmatic in that way. What to bring to your tax preparer. So if you haven't done them and you're going down to see Leanne, get your tax, very reasonable, by the way.
Yep.
I think I have Schedule Cs, 1099, sub-companies, et cetera, et cetera. And I basically get mine done for under $500.
Yep.
Now, I bring her this stuff. She doesn't have to dig for it, but her and her son do a great job on that. So anyway, you got to bring your W-2s in.
Yeah.
You got to bring your 1099s in if you got paid.
Yep.
In my case, is a good example because I have 6 sources of income. You got to
Yes.
bring your Social Security.
Yep.
Got to bring your county retirement.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Your retirement, any investment forms, 1099 interest, anything like that. Pretty much anything you get that says
Some
tax
of
document.
mine are still coming in.
Yeah.
Now,
they
if I
will.
don't make money,
Yeah,
if it's a negative or zero, I don't have to give it to you, right?
correct.
All right, that's good, because I'm getting some negatives lately. We've already filed, right? I mean, well, kind of. Yeah.
Well, kind of. I haven't clicked the send button just yet. Yep.
That's good,
Yeah, yep. Once we click the send button, then you'll be officially filed.
as long as we do it by the 15th.
Correct.
Let's see, the 15th is going to be on a...
Monday.
Yeah.
Yep,
When it's on a weekend day, it always falls to the 17th.
correct,
right?
yes.
Okay.
Yep, yeah, they'll push it forward a day or two. Yep.
Interest statements from banks, a lot of
Yep.
people forget that. Most people don't make much, $12, but they still
Yeah.
count it.
Yeah,
I doubt they would audit you over that, but you know, I mean, it's still
Yeah.
the right thing to do.
You gotta put it
Investment
in there
statement.
anyways, yeah.
Proof of any payment you made for estimated taxes.
yes. That's a big one people
I
forget.
look back at my return you did for me last year, and I'm looking down, and you had all these estimated payments.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they were in there. I ain't made no payments. I didn't know about all that. You're going to have to make those payments for me. So, but that's
I did last year, too.
But if you know, you're going to get money,
Yeah,
that's what I meant last year. I was looking
Correct.
back at last year's
Yes,
return.
yeah,
22,
yep.
it was in there.
Yeah.
423.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you know you're coming up short 7,000 or 8,000 and you got some income coming in on Social Security, I went and had more withheld on that.
Yes.
But if you get different things doing, you got to kind of estimate what you're going to have because it's 10% in it. Penalty.
for what, yes, yeah. Anywhere from 10 to 12% if you add together the interest and the penalties, yeah.
What I'm saying is though, you have to be within a certain amount.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
I'm saying if you owe 40 and you pay 35, you're probably
Yeah.
all right.
Yes.
But if you owe 30 and you paid 18, will
Then
you
there's
pay
a
a penalty
problem.
on the 12,000?
Yes, you will.
It's not much.
It's not a lot. It really isn't a lot. That's why so many people don't make the quarterly taxes, the quarterly tax deposits. They just kind of roll the dice and hope for,
Your
know,
chances are
less
better now than ever. They can't even answer the phone. It's terrible.
no, God, good
But
Lord, no, they sure
I have a
can't.
lot of respect for the IRS and their workers because they really are overwhelmed.
They really are. There's not enough of it. It's like everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to find people. It's hard to find quality people, and then it's even harder to keep them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I mean, everything's automated too.
it is. It's all electronic.
you
Very
get to-
seldom are they looking at anything.
Yeah, if you get to, you get a red flag from the
Yeah.
automation, it goes in a stack for 6 months and somebody
Yeah.
may call you.
Maybe. Or they may just send you a letter. They're definitely not going to call you, but they're going to send you a letter eventually.
Yeah, and my federal people, congressmen people I work with, I tell them all the time, they need money for customer service. They don't need 80,000 auditors, but they, and that kind of stuff. But
Yep, yep.
And they need some money. But luckily, the House went Republican that time, and they didn't have a Queen Ryan to do it. Tell me about why there's been a decrease in tax refunds that's been in the news lately.
Well, the biggest thing is not having enough withheld. I mean, a few years ago during the, 3-4 years ago, they changed that W-4.
What do you
And
mean?
They changed the format of it.
Okay.
So
How does
it's
that
not
impact?
really, it's because it's not very clear.
So-
they just check a box. You've got a couple of choices on your box to check, and you could
We get that number
withhold
right?
2 less.
2944792.
Yep, that's it. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the biggest reason is not having enough withheld.
But you're saying the forms are getting harder to understand, so people are
Yeah, that W-4, the W-4 that you fill out changed.
yeah, it doesn't help me.
It's
I mean,
not very helpful.
I make a good salary, and it tells me withhold this much, but it's not enough.
No, it's not enough. Mm-mm. And then that's happening to a lot. Now,
It's
the
hard to
point of
adjust. What do you
Yeah.
tell your employer?
well, that's the thing. And most people don't even look at their paychecks. They just don't look at it. They don't figure out what the withholding is and figure out where they are.
Brad,
So-
do you look at your paycheck?
What paycheck?
Yeah, what paycheck?
What paycheck?
Welcome to the land of the self-employed.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly what it
Yeah.
is. Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
so
go
a
ahead.
lot of times that's the reason is they're just not they're not looking.
So if I don't have a box or I don't have it, can I call my employer up and say withhold 10% more, 20% more?
You should be able to, depending on where you're at.
Or
You'll
send
have to
estimated
fill.
tax payments, right?
Yeah. Yep. I've just suggested to a lot of my clients just to go ahead and make some extra tax deposits. Sign up for an IRS.gov account. You can see all of your tax history. You can make payments inside there. You can see them. You can make payment plans. And if you feel like you're starting to fall short, throw some money in there.
Well, I will tell you this, when they're tight, when they're short, people that make estimated taxes usually don't get audited. If they're honest enough to make estimated tax payments, unless the button comes up, and
Yeah,
gets them,
yeah.
et cetera.
The red flag button
The red
there.
flag
Yep.
button.
Yeah.
All right. So we make estimated tax payments. That's
Mm-hmm.
a simple form, usually done quarterly.
Yes, usually done quarterly.
I
Yep.
need to reduce mine, by the way, but go ahead.
Yeah,
Let's do
usually
it.
done quarterly. We've got people that do it monthly so that it's a smaller pill to swallow every month instead of one giant
And
payment
your
quarterly.
paycheck comes electronically most of the time.
Yeah.
And mine, I get a statement every
Yeah.
week of what's on it.
Yeah, you should. Yep.
It's not enough.
And if you don't, figure out why you're not getting them. Reach out to whoever runs the
I'm
payroll.
with a big company, Fortune
Yeah.
500, something. It's
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
And that's good. Tell me about the changes in the child tax credit. Did it hold in place from 22 to 23, or is it?
It did. They held the $2,000
Define
child
what it
tax
is.
credit.
Define.
It's a $2,000 child tax credit
For having a child?
for having a child.
On your return?
On your return.
It's what ages?
It's up to 19, and then that's it. You get a little bit of a dependent credit, but it's not the $2,000. You can get up to $500 if
That's
they're
what I
in
got.
college. Yeah.
But he was 18. Why did I get more?
Well, they phase it out based on your income.
Oh, there it goes.
There it
Curse
is.
of making money. I mean,
Yeah.
I got it. See,
Yeah.
that's it. If you make too much money, you're not going to get the child tax credit. It's going to
No,
phase
it's
on
going to
that.
phase on out. It's going to lessen over time.
Okay, I get
Yeah.
that. I'm
Yep.
learning. Okay.
And only 1,600 of it is refundable as well. So typically with the tax credits, you can't get
I
a
get it.
refund of the full amount either. So,
But the American Rescue Plan, which is basically what we stimulated the government
Yes.
with under Obama, right?
Yep.
When we did that, you got up to 3,600 per
Yeah.
child, and that dropped back to the normal tax rate,
it
2,000.
did. Yep, after the COVID.
And it
that
stayed
was-
there, and it
Yep.
stayed at
Yep,
2,000.
that was a post-COVID.
That's a
that
credit.
COVID
That's a
thing.
credit. That's pretty
Yeah.
strong.
And $3,600, the difference between $3,600 and $2,000 is huge
On a credit.
on a credit. Yeah, it is.
Not a deduction,
Yeah.
but a credit.
A credit, yep. So they kept it in place at the $2,000 this year.
Okay.
So that was helpful
Per child.
per child, correct.
Okay.
Yep,
To meet the qualifying child test, your child must be younger than you, that makes sense, and either younger than 9, but, you adopt, you have
yeah, of
blended
course.
families. That
Yeah,
doesn't
you
always
do,
work,
yes,
yeah.
yep.
And, like if my son was an entertainer and he was making big money on the internet or something, it would be different.
Yeah,
If
it
I
would
had a brother, to meet the qualifying child test, your child must be younger than 24 years of old,
That's
either
the
younger than 19 years old, or to be a student younger than 24 years old in the calendar year.
Mm-hmm.
So if I went back to making less money, say less than half of what I make, I could go back to 2,000.
Correct.
I'm going to think about that, Brad. You got a system over there, Brad. You're getting credits because you're trying, nobody's sending you no checks. If you're permanently or totally disabled, there's no
Correct, there's no age limit. Yeah.
qualifying.
Correct,
Well,
yeah. Yep.
maxing tax deposits and finding your historical data. IRS website, you touched on that briefly.
I did, yes, yep,
You have to sign up and give them a name and a username and all that, right?
correct, yes, yep. They'll
What's the
set you-
difference in that and my social security number? I got a social security site, right? SSA.com.
Yes, you do, it's different. 'Cause
Yeah.
the IRS, it's tax related.
Yeah, that's why I
versus
look at the social
Social
security when
Mhm.
it's more, it
Yeah,
makes me
yeah, it's
happier.
different. Yep,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
You see where you're getting money instead of where you're paying.
Well, what you're going to get when you go. I'm already drawn because I'm old enough, but some
Yeah.
people, before I did, I looked at it.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
haven't
that's
looked
it.
at mine yet. I need
Well,
to
the
do
big
that.
thing, let's take a break. Let's
Yeah.
take our first break, and then we'll come back and talk about extensions. I want you to tell me when it's good to take an extension and when it's bad. Obviously, you're not prepared, but
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of the flow of auditing and documents
Mm-hmm.
and that stuff. Okay.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance clean energy and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear and environmental fields.
When should you get tested for COVID-19? You have symptoms of COVID-19, such as runny nose, congestion, sore throat, fever, cough, shortness of breath, muscle pain, headache, chills, or loss of taste or smell. Current testing recommendations say everyone should get tested immediately if they have symptoms of COVID-19. If you have symptoms, be sure to follow recommendations about how long to stay home and away from others. For more information, visit our If You Are Sick or Test Positive webpage.
All right, crew, let's get started. Sure.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Welcome back to Between the Lines. Leanne, tell us about an extension. So I'm not ready. It's April 1st. I'm going to file an extension. There's a form for that.
Correct.
And that's it's to extend your taxes until,
Until October 15th
oh,
is your
personal.
filing. Yep. your
What's
filing
August,
deadline.
business? Something's August.
September is business.
Okay, so
Yep.
you don't have to file your return until October 15th, and
Yep.
you don't have any incurred penalties that you don't already have on April 15th.
Correct, yes.
You may have some in your time.
Yeah, the
but be
longer you
careful,
wait
that's
to pay
interest.
them. Yeah, the longer you wait to pay them. If you didn't pay anything with your extension and you owe money and drag it out a little bit, there'll be a little bit more interest and penalties, but it's not if you don't owe a ton, it's not a lot of money. It's
Some
percentage.
things, some deductions have gone up. We talk about things that are not as much of a refund.
Mm-hmm.
But tell us a little bit about the things that, if you're single, it's a little bit
single.
better, right? You
No,
go-
no. You're $13,850 for 2023 tax year is the standard deduction.
Okay, and 14.6 is what?
2024.
So the year we're living in, there'll be a higher deduction.
Yeah, correct. Yes.
okay.
Yep. Yeah. So then married filing joint this year is 27.7 and it's going up to 29.2 for 2024. And then of course head of household is 20,800 this year and 21.9, which head of household is when you're a parent, an unmarried parent with children.
Okay.
Yep.
Over 65, 1850.
Get a little
Is
extra.
that a deduction?
It's part of your standard deduction, correct, yes. So
You get 1850 extra,
Correct.
and if you're married, you get 1,500 extra. So
Yep.
both of you get 1,500.
if you're both over the age of 65. So then when your wife ages up over 65.
I'll be 111 dead and gone. I mean, don't
Then
work
you
for
get
me, folks.
extra
You know my
$3,000.
life. They don't work for me. No, they don't work for me. But that's okay.
So the key is, if you're not ready to file your tax return, extend it. You don't mail in a form anymore. You reach out to whoever your tax professional is. We file your extension
And then you got
and
to October
then you've
15th
got
to get it
till
organized.
Yeah, you've got till October 15th
Yeah, but
to get it together.
my wife comes from Brad's neighborhood where we got to get everything in. We got to get everything in. So, and and she's right. She keeps me on my toes. That's okay.
Yep, yep.
And most of my stuff's pretty self-forward.
Yeah.
As long as I get the schedule C's in. Using me as an
Yeah,
example.
and if you miss a big document, the IRS is going to catch it because it's electronically filed. If it's something that was electronically submitted to the IRS, they're going to catch it, and they're going to send you a letter adjusting your liability, your tax liability.
They're going to go ahead and fix it.
Yeah, they're going to automatically fix
Will
it.
they do it for $10?
No. They're going to charge
So
you
if you get
penalties on it.
No, what I'm saying is, if
Oh.
I missed a $4 profit on a stock, will they send a letter and adjust it?
Yes. I don't know how long it'll take them to get to the $4 letter, but
Yeah,
I've
I
seen
guess.
them on a $500.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep up with it all when you're selling and buying stocks all the time.
It is, and
Yeah,
it's
it's-
hard to remember where you're
Money.
waiting for forms from. If
And they
you've
don't
got a
come,
bunch of
they
them.
don't come till March and,
Yeah, they don't come fast, that's
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, yep.
all right. Mileage rate went up from 60, it'll go up next year to 67 from 65.5.
2024 is
That's a lot.
67. Yep, it is a lot.
I drive a lot. I ride a
Yeah,
lot off, but
yep,
that's a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's up, and from 2024 to 2022, it's up 11 cents a mile. That's a lot.
So let's say you have a scouting service for sports or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You're self-employed and people pay you to go watch ball games.
Yep.
Every mile you drive there and back, you get to write off 67
Correct.
cents. That's
Yeah,
a lot.
That's a lot. Yep, yep.
But
is a
mileage is, it costs money. I mean, I
Yeah,
get it.
it does.
They're going to consider the entire depreciation of your car.
Yep.
I get that. Okay, let's talk about IRAs for a second, and we'll come back
Yeah.
over this later. But
Yeah.
I did IRAs. I may even have a Roth somewhere I forgot about. But, I mean, remember, that was the big thing in non-taxable and all of that stuff. But I'm really not sure how a Roth works. I take my net income, or after everything's paid, taxes are paid, I stick 2,000 in a Roth, and then it turns into 40,000 later, I don't have to pay taxes on it.
Correct, because you're taking it out, your money is post-tax.
That's correct.
When you're contributing it, so you don't get a tax benefit on the
There's
front
some-
end.
There's some guides on
but you
that,
do it
though.
on the back end.
But if I take it out at 40,000 at 39 years old,
Then you're going to pay, you're going to pay a penalty on that.
you have to be 60,
Typically,
you have to be 60.
65, yeah.
65.
Yep.
God,
yeah.
it's so good to be 65. Everything's 65 in this world. I mean, it's just unbelievable. It really is. So that's how you do it. But the traditional IRA, it doesn't, I quit doing them when I went into a pension fund and all that
Yeah.
stuff. They won't let me
Yeah.
do it.
Correct, yeah, there's
When I was
limitations.
self-employed, I was allowed to do it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
I got that right, okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
but the IRA that you would recommend people doing is to save money. If you don't have money coming in from the plants or your company, or they don't have a 401k, like if I donate $6,000 a year, my company puts in $3, right?
Yep.
So the question is, if I put in $30 a year to save taxes, they still put in $3.
Yes.
But they go up to a certain amount,
Yep.
based on your salary and
That's,
stuff.
yep. Usually a
3%,
percentage.
4%,
Yeah, 3,
whatever they get.
4%.
I'm giving examples that we can use.
Yeah.
So the question comes back to, what do you recommend so a person like Brad, who owns his station and everything, he would be smart to put out, if he had any money left, he would be smart to put some kind of IRA together, so when he turns 65, in addition to Social Security, he'd have some more income, right?
Yeah, so personally, in my business, I have a simple IRA plan, which allows, it's more than the typical, I don't know, I can't remember the limit this year for an individual IRA, 6,500, 7,500, something like that. Where with my simple IRA, I can put up to, I think it's 16.5 this year. That's a good amount of money, and that helps me from a tax perspective,
Who
so.
has 16.5? That's the question. But you know what I do.
Correct, I
I'll
don't.
put in 40,000 in a year, or 30,000, I'll
Yeah.
defer it.
Yep.
Knowing after 65, I can take it out without penalty anyway. I can go back and forth with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
Now-
with just with the
Well, the-
401k.
Correct, the regular one, but it's still taxable to you. when you
is.
take it out. It's just not penalized when you take it out after 65. It's still
That's correct.
taxable income.
So I can move it around as I want. I
Mm-hmm.
can, instead of letting them just take it, tax it on my regular check, by me going and doing the, putting it 401k and then over 6 or 8 months with a high percentage put in.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So now I'm sitting there looking at 30 or 40,000. If I need something, I can just pull it out,
Yeah.
20 points, and
Yep.
it'll adjust.
Yeah.
It'll help me.
Yep,
It's pretty good.
yeah.
Credits versus deduction credits are always better.
Correct.
What do you mean?
Credits are always better. So a credit is a true dollar for dollar credit of what you owe the IRS. So you owe them $100 and you got a tax credit of $100, you owe them nothing. Deductions don't work that way.
Deductions mean
Yeah.
the taxable amount
Correct.
goes from 100 down
Yes.
to whatever.
Yep.
So you may save 20 or 30% or whatever.
Yeah,
your category.
exactly. Whatever bracket you're sitting in.
I got it.
Yep, yep.
So, yeah. Tell us some of the things where you get what would be some multiple examples of a tax credit? We already talked about child tax
Yeah,
credit.
your child tax credit is your most common one. There's some energy tax credits. I don't have anyone that
think.
actually
Trying to
takes,
think.
I don't have anyone that takes any credits except the child tax credit and then the education credit that you
Now,
get.
define the
that-
education credit. When you go to college?
Yes, when you go to college. The American Opportunities Credit, I think is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the only two I ever see anyone take advantage of.
Do you
So,
think people file their taxes don't even know about these credits?
Absolutely.
It's another reason.
Some
to-
people, yeah.
Especially education credits.
Yeah. A lot of people learn about the education credit
When their
via
kids in
the
school.
FAFSA.
So
The
if I-
FAFSA
yeah,
process talks
that's
you
right.
through that.
So
Yeah.
if I send my kid to school.
Yeah.
And I'm paying $10,000 a year
Mm-hmm.
supplementing his education, there's some credits in there?
Yeah,
I
there's.
want to know where they are right now.
Where they are right now.
I might need to know. So I get credits on some things because I pay to, obviously not all of it.
Correct, not all of it, yeah, yeah. And I don't remember what the credit is off the top of my head, to be honest, $1,000, $2,000. It's a good amount of money,
Yeah, if
you
it's
know.
credit.
Yeah, yeah,
If I have to pay for it,
Yep.
absolutely. We
yeah.
make sure next year, I'll figure out what I'm paying, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah.
Do you offset that by not being able to take a child tax credit? Okay, is it possible you could take both? That's a good
I guess
question.
you could, yeah, that's a good question. I think, you can take both. Typically, there's a limit on the education credit. You can only take it 4 times. That's
4
all you
years.
get.
Or you
Yeah,
stay
if
in school forever, I guess.
Yeah, if you stay in school forever, you're out of luck on that credit.
We'll take a break and we'll come back and talk about tax brackets. What percentage are you paying
Mm-hmm.
based on how much money you're making?
We should never lose sight of our health. To keep moving forward, let's not forget everything we've learned. Limit the salty food options. Make your own daily exercise routine. And always receive regular checkups. More than anything, we have learned how important these small steps can make a big difference. So we can all continue to move forward together.
All right, crew, let's get started. Sure.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance clean energy and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear and environmental fields.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
So Welcome back to Between the Lines. We're looking at tax rates here and incomes. So if you're a single person, okay, your bracket can go anywhere from 12 to 35%. But 12% stays in effect till you hit 47,000. And then 22 stays in effect until you hit 100,000. These are singles. And then 24 stays into effect till you hit 191 as a single. And then 32 stays in effect to 243 as a single. And then 35% from 243 to 20 million or whatever you
Well,
make.
there's a 37% bracket right above it.
You
So
got
that
730,
takes you
okay,
up to the
609.
Yeah,
But
takes you up to
37,
609.
yeah, I remember 37.
Yep,
But you know, when I was young, before Reagan passed the 86 Act, I was, 28, 90, it was 70%. Some of it was 50, 70% for high brackets. Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Holy moly.
But you could write off everything.
Welfare,
Sales tax,
sales tax,
everything.
everything.
Yeah, you could work it.
Yeah.
It was workable. It was
Yeah.
workable. So we've got people need to understand, are these brackets changing every year?
Not really. I mean,
Okay.
the brackets are the same. The income levels will change a little bit, but not a whole lot. Trump brought out the 10% to 37, and those are the brackets you got.
Which,
Yeah, so we got the 10%.
and they get on Trump,
there.
but it actually helped poor people.
It did.
Oh,
It did.
I mean, it's just nothing there.
Well-
They get deductions, and
Yeah, and then.
you got to make 50 grand to pay taxes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and increasing that standard deduction really helped people.
That's what
because,
I was talking about.
Yeah, so
went
that
up to
helps people a
30-something
lot.
thousand, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that helps a lot. Most people couldn't get to you can't really get to the itemizing standpoint of this.
Explain progressive taxing. What is it, progressive
So
taxation?
progressive taxation is where they charge you a percentage on the first dollar amount.
Okay.
And then the second chunk of money, they charge you that. So these brackets, you pay 12% on the first 11,000. And then you pay 22% up to 47,000. And so it's chunks.
I got it.
And it just
And it
progressively
averages in.
increases. Yeah.
In the end, you average in. So I pay 12 on some,
Yep. you pay
22 on some. That's a big jump. No
It is.
15s, no 18s.
Correct.
From 12 to 22 is a
But
big.
the brackets are a lot wider than they used to be before Trump changed these brackets. They used to, you'd have a tax bracket page this long when you're looking at the tax law.
Simplified a little
And
bit.
this is a lot
He gets
simpler.
credit for that. Him and Congress get credit for that, I
Yep,
think.
absolutely. Yeah.
And it's a lot easier to understand and read
Yeah.
and do different things with it. Let me look at this for a second. Standard deductions
Yep,
for a person is $13,850 for a single person.
for a single person, yep.
Now, what does that mean? I come in, I made 42,000
They take 13,850 off the top. and then
after your deductions and all that. I mean, they take
is
that
your
off.
deduction.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what's the other thing besides, you get one for deduction, and what's the other one? You get, there's more than an exemption, there's,
Well, the standard deduction is what it's changed to. You used to get the standard deduction for a married couple and then each kid you had or each
Okay.
dependent you had.
All right.
That's gone away.
okay.
So you've got a single person, say Connor we go to file his tax return, which we did at the beginning of the year. He makes $40,000. The standard deduction is $13,850. That immediately knocks his AGI and his taxable income
But there's
down
more
by
than that that-
13,000.
You have a deduction, what's an exemption? Do you get two exemptions?
Not anymore. That's gone.
It's just the adjusted gross, that's it.
Correct. Yep. If you've got a Schedule C, you've got some stuff in your tax return that complicates this.
You think?
As just a single person, you go in, your standard deduction, your taxable income becomes the, $25,000, and you don't pay taxes on the first 11,600. So,
Interesting.
yep, yeah.
Because I have a Schedule C, and I have a full-time government, not a government job, but a development job. Then I have Schedule C, I have Social Security.
Social Security.
County retirement.
Yep.
And some
Retirements,
commission
yep.
stuff from other things,
Yep.
and stocks.
Yep.
So it gets complicated.
It does, yeah. Yeah,
And everything piles into my income,
correct. Into that AGI. It all piles into that AGI, and that's where you pay your
Adjusted
taxes
gross
from.
income, right?
Yep.
Interesting. Tell me what the mindset in your opinion, machines or others, at what point do you become an absolute interest of the IRS? What things does the computer say, bing, we got to look at this?
Home offices.
Home offices.
Home offices.
Does it matter how big they are?
It's pretty hard to get the deduction for a home office.
It is
because there's a
hard.
lot of parameters that go into it. You've got to have a profit. If you don't have a profit, they're not going to give you the home office
They
deduction.
shouldn't. I
They
agree.
shouldn't. And then I was reading it, I was doing one of my CPEs recently, and I didn't know this, but if your deductions are all even numbers, all zeros, all end in zeros. So if you say your business expenses are all
580,
100,
690,
500,
whatever.
yeah.
Whatever.
And I thought that was interesting. It's a red flag. They'll pay
Let's think
attention to
about
you.
that for a second.
I know,
Let's stay there.
because it looks
Because
like.
it doesn't really, that's not realistic.
That's not really,
So they know
yeah.
you're plugging numbers
Yeah,
in.
yeah, yeah.
Folks, listen to that. That means if you have a business or something, and you come back with, so if you don't have any 1, 2s, or 3s at the end of those numbers, they know you didn't calculate it, that you just stuck a number in there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So the machine knows,
Yep.
that's worth the whole show right there.
Yep.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, they'll go more attention to it.
Yeah, yep.
What do they do, though?
They
Okay,
send you a letter, they ask you questions. Most of the audits that I'm seeing, I haven't seen an in-person audit in, I don't know, 7 or 8 years, probably.
So-
Most of them are by letters.
What if I have a big one, like I come in and I say this and that, and I put down drove 88,000 miles, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That would send me a red flag.
It depending on
type
your
of business,
business,
yeah.
on the type of business, and there's some factors to it, but if they ask, you better have a log.
Yeah,
You better have a log.
or create one quickly.
Yeah, well, I didn't
Well,
say
depend-
that, you said that.
Well, no. You
Yeah.
can go back and look at your
Yeah,
schedule
you
and
can.
make a log.
You can.
I mean,
You
that's
can.
not cheating.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm not talking about an imaginary. What I'm
Correct.
saying, if I know I went to Chattanooga every weekend or every week on Monday and came back
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
on Wednesday,
Yep.
that's 12,000 miles right there, not to mention anything else I might be doing. Tell me about the vehicle stuff. Like, I always had trouble with the trucks. I mean, I would get one and I would do the mileage, but you can deduct. Other vehicles can be handled in
Two different ways.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
mileage details or
Depreciation.
depreciation.
So you have to pick one and you stick with it for the life of the vehicle.
Okay.
You can't flip-flop around. So if you buy a vehicle and you decide you're going to depreciate it, let the business take the depreciation on it.
Which example? $40,000 vehicle. What's in a 5-year depreciation plan? You get to take $8,000 every year on your taxes.
In a rounded way, yeah. Right now, it's set on a 3-year depreciation,
Ooh,
and
that's good.
it's more the first year, a little bit less the second year, and the rest of it the third year. But there's a formula to it. I can't.
So if
remember
the
what it
formula
is.
allows me to take 20 grand on the 40 the first year, hypothetically,
Yeah,
is that an actual deduction?
it is a deduction. Yep. So it's a business expense. It comes over as a
If I
business
buy a
expense.
$500 truck, they're going to deduct from 500, or they're going to
Yeah.
deduct from the value of the truck?
500, what you paid for it.
Well, that's useless. You want the miles there.
Yeah, you want the mileage on that one. Yeah, yep, definitely. But if you depreciate, then you can take your expenses for your tires, your repairs, your gasoline. You can take all your actual expenses related to the vehicle.
In addition to the depreciation?
Yes. Now, if you go with mileage, all you ever get is mileage.
Yeah,
You can't
67
take
cents.
67 cents, but you can't take any of the gasoline, none
No.
of the repairs,
But
none
it's
of
a
the
simple way
tires.
to do it.
It's a simple way to do
I
it.
love it.
Yeah. So,
Or I would have to have one visa that did only cars. That way I could pull all the
Correct.
reports, or
Yeah.
I'd be lost.
yep, and it's got to be a business vehicle too.
Well, that's
in order
pretty
to
easy.
do
That's
the-
pretty easy.
yeah.
As long as you don't go over 20%, maybe it's 10. But
Yeah,
10 or
closer to
20%,
10 or
you're
20%,
okay.
It's fine, yeah,
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
go and say, do you use this primarily? Ask me every year on the schedule, say, do you use
Yeah.
this primarily for business?
yeah, yep,
I'm always conservative. I'm just too.
yeah. I'm
I
too much
mean-
of a chicken to mess
Well, it's
with the
not the
IRS.
chicken, it's just, it makes sense not to deal with that. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
I'm
not worth the
smart enough to
headache.
know what the assessment of the IRS is and what their
Yeah.
condition is, but
Absolutely.
in the end, who needs a letter?
No, it's just a headache, and it's always followed up by 4 more letters.
That's the truth right there. Once they're in the letter zone, you're in the
Yep,
letter zone.
yep.
Do you think it's a person or a computer sending you the letter?
Computer. Yeah,
How does the computer get the stamp on it?
I have no idea.
I mean, they get kind of limited.
Somewhere, one of those letter stuffers probably.
If
got
they all
machines.
end in 0, that's pretty smart, really.
Yeah,
That's
I thought
pretty
that was
slick.
interesting.
That's pretty slick.
I mean, it makes sense, but
500, 250, that is really
that's
smart.
really smart, yeah.
The IRS made a good
Yeah.
move there. They figured that. Some accountant told them how to do that.
Yep.
That is
Yep.
really interesting. Think
Yep.
about it. So if you're putting line items on your costs, make sure you get close enough to a 3 or an 8 every once in a while.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Something other than a 0. They all end in 0.
And you
They're
might not be
gonna-
cheating, but they know you're estimating,
Yeah, they know you're estimating, absolutely.
and they don't want you to estimate.
No, they don't want you to
They
estimate.
hate estimating.
Yeah, they do. They do.
They want to know what you actually spent, up or down, in that kind
Yep.
of situation.
Absolutely.
Any business vehicles, businesses, what are some of the things that businesses run into problems with? Like, if you think you can get the deductions or you think it's a good expense, but IRS doesn't like it.
The home office is a big one.
And explain that again. That's like I'm working and I have my office in my home.
Yes.
First thing I ask you is how many square feet?
How many square feet is it used solely for your business?
That's right.
Can you ever use it for anything else? I mean, there's a whole laundry list of questions that go along with it. That's one of the big things a small business owner is going to run into an issue with.
If you show profit, say you made $70,000 that year in that business, you use your home office,
Yeah.
and you're deducting $4,000 or $5,000, less of a problem.
It's never going to be $4,000 or $5,000 anyways.
Can't get
You
a
don't-
home office till then.
I wouldn't even bother with it if it was, I don't bother with it. I have a home office that I legitimately,
What if you don't have a regular office and you do everything from home?
well, then that's a different story. You know, it's worth the headache of it because it's completely legitimate and you're not paying rent somewhere else. It's just, the home
like in my
office is
situation-
just a headache.
My home office is strictly my Schedule C. In that
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
situation. But
Yeah.
you're right. The gain of it is not.
It's not worth the headache.
When I did TurboTax for years, it just kicked me out.
Yeah.
Ineligible.
Yeah, most of the time it does. I probably have maybe 2 clients that get a couple $100 a year, and that's all you get is a couple $100. It's
That's
not worth
dinner
the red
in this.
flag.
And this
Yeah, it's not
that's,
worth the red
that's
flag.
dinner. That's
Yeah.
you can go in at Aubrey's twice, you
Yeah,
get that out, right?
Exactly.
That's where that kind of
Yeah.
situation is. So they
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
Let's take another break, Chandler. Let's see what's going on out there. Give us a few commercials here, and we'll come back and finish up.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance clean energy and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear and environmental fields.
When should you get tested for COVID-19? You have symptoms of COVID-19, such as runny nose, congestion, sore throat, fever, cough, shortness of breath, muscle pain, headache, chills, or loss of taste or smell. Current testing recommendations say everyone should get tested immediately if they have symptoms of COVID-19. If you have symptoms, be sure to follow recommendations about how long to stay home and away from others. For more information, visit our If You Are Sick or Test Positive webpage.
All right, crew, let's get started. Sure.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Chandler's counting down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're back on the air. And that's where we're at. We're going to talk a little bit about, you got children at home and other people. We're going to talk about income for children. It's kind of tricky. I have a son that makes money. So if your son, for any reason, is getting Social Security income, that doesn't count towards their limit.
Correct. Yes, correct.
Mainly because it's going to the
Yeah,
parents to do stuff.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
before a child has to file taxes, summer work, you work this summer, he's got to get that standard deduction.
He does, he's got to get above it.
And if he claims it on the standard deduction and he files it, you lose him as a dependent.
No, you can still file him as a dependent.
He has to go zero.
He has to, yes.
Interesting. So how was his taxes being impacted?
I have never seen anyone actually have that happen.
What do they do? What do you do when you have a kid that makes $12,000, $15,000?
Well, you file a tax return and they get into these same brackets as the rest of us.
But where does the deduction can't go both places? The kid can't claim himself and
Correct.
Mr. and
No,
Mrs. Johnson.
that's correct. Yeah, no, he doesn't get this. They don't get the standard deduction of. But most of the time, when you get into a position like that, a parent's not going to claim their kid anymore.
I would like to go on the record.
You will
Right
get
here
that
on Between the
$2,000.
Lines. He better be making a lot.
Yep.
He better be making a lot.
Yeah.
But what do you get for the kid? He's a full dependent.
Correct.
I mean,
Yeah, you get the $2,000. If you get the $2,000, you don't. I don't. If he's filing his own tax return, he's making enough money to where that couple $1,000s for you doesn't make a difference.
I get it.
You got to kind of weigh the pros and cons of it from a monetary standpoint.
So Nico's over at quarterbacking at UT making $1 million or $2 million a year. His parents probably aren't claiming him anymore.
No, I would hope not.
Nico's paying his own taxes.
He's just give him a couple $1,000s and say,
Yeah, here you go.
child
Sorry.
tax credit, guys.
Well, I'm sure Nico's parents understand that.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to
Yeah.
play ball the way things are changing.
Yeah.
All right, so young people can work at, does jobs matter?
Yeah.
For a kid? We already said Social Security's exempt. So if a child's getting that, that's different. I know kids that have been teenagers that lost their parents and they got that money.
Correct, yeah, there's
Even the parents don't get it. I mean,
No.
they actually are by themselves in life.
Yes.
I got friends who today are very
Yes.
wealthy who did that in high
Yeah.
school and college because
Yeah.
they got that benefit from their
Yeah.
parents' Social Security.
Yep. My sister did.
Interesting, though. Think about this for a second. I'm a kid, and I get this money at Social Security. Well, let's just say this. If I was to pass away, and Caleb, and whatever, my wife and Caleb was by himself and he got this Social Security money, how long can he claim it?
Till he's 18.
That's it? Now, what happens if there's life insurance? That would just go to him?
Yes, correct. Well, if you have it set up to go to him, it will go to him.
What if it's set up to go to nobody? Next to Ken, he get it?
I believe so. I would think so. I don't know. I don't think they let you
So-
set up insurance plans without having beneficiaries anymore.
And that Social Security would be that?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, most people would put their spouse.
Yes, they do. Well, and with Social Security, it just goes to, so, for example, you pass away before Caleb turns 18, your wife gets a spousal benefit, and then Caleb gets it until there's a benefit for him until he
But
turns
he's
18
19.
as well.
He's going to be 19
He's gonna be
in this
19
fall.
this year.
But
That's
the
right.
point is that if for any reason, not us, I don't want to die too many
Yeah,
times
I
on the
don't
show,
either.
but somebody else dies and the kid and about this and that, do they, I mean, at some point, all that money I've paid in, how does that money goes back? There's a lot of money in there.
Yeah. Well,
Got to go to the kid, doesn't it?
It goes to the kid until he's 18. And then after that, either your wife-
Whoa. I paid in, I say when I die, I'm making $4,000 a month in Social Security. And I die.
Yeah, goes to your wife.
Let's just presume
Forget about
that
your wife. Okay.
somebody's wife's already passed on, or vice
Yeah.
versa, she
Yeah.
passes out, she passes
Yeah.
on. If he only is entitled to that Social Security until he's 18 years old.
Correct, yeah.
Just
It
goes-
just goes away. If you've got adult kids, it goes away. Nobody gets it.
Even though you've paid all that money.
Correct.
Dying
My
ain't
gra-
profitable. What?
No, when my grandparents pass away, the money doesn't go to anyone. There's no minor
So
children.
Social Security is a bet hedge and insurance that until you die, you get that money.
Yeah,
And the actuary tables have to balance with people who live longer and people who die earlier.
yep,
So you're done. When you die, you're done.
yep, yeah. If you don't have a spouse or an underage child,
Interesting. So if you're a senior grandparent
yep,
and you're taking in $4,000 a month and you pass away, that money's gone.
that's gone. Nobody gets it.
Unlike a retirement plan.
Correct.
That
Yes.
that would have to pass on.
Yes, yeah, the retirement plans will pass on.
There's an equity in that.
Correct, yes. There'll be a payout in some form
To somebody.
to somebody. There'll be a beneficiary
Now,
somewhere
I have
listed.
beneficiaries in that, but they don't
Yeah.
ask for it in Social Security.
No, they don't, because it either goes to your spouse or your kid, and that's it.
But he's already exempt. I mean, except for the fact he's still in school.
Correct, yeah, he's still a student.
And the Social Security benefits, they only do through high school.
Correct,
Like he
through
got an
high
extra
school.
year because he was older when he
Yes.
started. I got it.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
All right. How many
So
kids,
graduation.
is there a restriction on the number of kids? Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of where kids become complicated in this tax situation. I don't know.
As far as, no, there's not a restriction to the number.
I
of
got
kids.
3 kids making $8,000 a year each.
Don't matter. It's not enough to get above the standard deduction.
They get to keep their money.
They get to keep their money. Yep.
My kid's quitting at 13 too, or whatever that is. You got no reason to keep going, right? I mean,
Right.
all right, I
Yep.
understand what you're saying
Yep.
there. That's good.
I've got to keep an eye on Cynthia. My daughter works, and then, of course, I make her work for me, too, so I've got to be careful. I get to pay her a little bit less, so she doesn't get close to it between her 2 jobs.
Why, her brother's cleaning house. He's making money,
Yeah, Connor's, yeah.
but he has 1 job.
He's working his butt off.
Yeah, he is. He works hard. Every time I come to the door, he's there.
He's there. He's
Her
working
office has a
hard.
little thing. When you walk in the door, the announcer goes, "The front door is open."
Yeah, my security system.
I like that. I like that. No kidding. That's
Yep.
kind of cool.
Yep.
How
And
many
Con-
people working at your firm now? You got
I have,
4? You've been advertising for more.
I just got the last one hired, so I'll
Good.
have a total of 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
When you
Yep.
got that much working, though, you got to do it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the last few months, we've fallen behind because we didn't have enough people to do all the work
I
we
saw
needed
that.
to
I
get
saw
done.
your ads
Yeah,
and
it's
stuff on
really-
social media. You were
it's
trying to
really
grab
tough.
people.
I don't know why people don't want to come to Oak Ridge to work. That's been the biggest obstacle, because I pay well. I don't have insurance, but people don't really care about that as much as they used to.
Yeah, it's
but
true,
They don't
especially
want to
young
drive to
people.
Oak Ridge.
From
So-
where, Knoxville?
Yeah, yep.
You live in Knoxville, don't you?
Oh, I live in high school. I just come down Raccoon
Okay, you're on
Valley to
Quentin
get here.
Highway. Yeah, I got you. Come across, yeah.
Yeah, I just come across that way.
All right. What's the biggest mistake people are going to make this year on their taxes?
On their tax return themselves, if they file it themselves, they'll forget some forms. They'll file it without a form.
Why? Give me an example of a form.
People miss 1099s a lot that they didn't realize they were going to get, or they forgot about. Do a little bit of extra work for somebody.
It could be, it has to be 700, right?
Has to be 600. Yeah,
That's never
$600.
gone up. Why hasn't that gone
I
up?
don't know. They want their money.
Yeah, I guess that's.
So that's usually the biggest mistake. Really,
What if
a
you
lot
don't get a 1099? You don't worry about it? Well, if
You
you make
should-
10,000, you should ask.
Yeah, and
But if you
and-
make $700, $800, somebody might have just skipped over it.
Yeah, so my accountant's answer is, it doesn't matter, you should file it.
Yeah. Even without it? Just find out. You know,
Yeah,
my
you know.
clients, because we were running late in
Yeah.
elections, they just wanted to know the amount, and they went ahead and filed.
Yeah, yep, yeah. Yep.
And that's it. Or they'll call me and say, here's what you paid me.
Yeah.
You make sure you don't mess it up.
Yeah.
I mean, because this year will be 4 or 5 people. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
and they're all in that $3,000 to $5,000
Yeah.
range.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of people under the 600 that do
Yeah.
campaign work or poll work. But, you
Yeah.
know, getting them out to 1099s, because luckily you take care of a lot of that for me.
Yes, I do, I take care of your
But-
1099s for you.
But it still requires me to collect good information.
It does, it does.
But I don't have to worry about mailing. That's the part that kills me. I don't have time.
Yeah, we do that. We do that electronically, to get it
It's instant.
done and done.
So you don't have to mail it. By law, you can send it electronically?
Yeah,
Well,
we
that's a
can
dumb
either send
question.
it,
It's a
yeah, you
COVID
can,
world. That was dumb.
yeah, you can either email it or mail it.
And they get it that way.
And they get it.
They follow back on it.
Yep.
But you don't have to follow up with paper. You can do it just one time on email.
Correct,
Oh,
yes.
that's a good,
Yeah,
that's a good
yep.
rule. Because you don't have to be checking the mail and all that stuff. 'Cause
Yeah.
You just got to show where you provided that
I have to,
copy.
yeah, we just have to prove that a copy was provided to a current email that we had that we'd communicated.
Is there an
with.
area of 1099s that becomes suspicious? Like, here's a 1099 for 162,000.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, okay.
No.
So just the company would pay
Just
that
the
out.
company would pay that out, and they call it, like, you pay your accountant, your
Oh,
attorney.
what's the
stuff
difference
like things.
between, here's the good question, because it bothered
Mm-hmm.
me for years. What makes you a 1099 and what makes you an employee? When do you can no longer do 1099s?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a great one.
That's a good one. We
I
can
ran
talk
into
all
that.
day about
Let's-
that.
Well, we got
So-
about 6 minutes.
Okay. So the test to be an employee. what did
He's
you say?
bothered,
Oh,
said
okay.
5 minutes. He
Okay.
corrects me all the time.
Okay. So the test to be an employee, or the main big questions, Do you tell them where to be and when to be there? If you do, they're your employee. Are they wearing your
So we'll call that a
uniform?
schedule, okay.
Yeah,
uniform,
they giving you a
okay.
schedule, and they giving you a place to be. Are they doing the work in your place?
Rather than just saying, get this done for me.
Correct.
Okay.
If they don't have any control over the schedule, they're an employee. If you have uniforms and they're representing your company, they're an employee.
Okay.
Those are the big ones. Those are the big main ones. There's some other little things to go along with it, but that's the big ones. And if you don't get an invoice from them,
I was always told how many hours a week they spend in your building.
that's another one too. Yeah. Yep.
I mean,
because they're reporting
you call
to
them
you.
1099, but if they've got an office in the back of your building,
They're an employee.
they're an employee.
Yeah. If they're using your equipment, they're driving.
That's it, yeah.
They're using your equipment to do the job you're asking them to do. They're
They're an
coming to
employee.
your office. You're telling them when to come there. They're your
Now, if they come there
employee.
once a month, it's different. But-
Correct.
but
Yes,
if they're-
that is
But
correct.
if their regular order of business
Correct.
requires them to be in your building,
Yes.
they an employee.
Correct, yes. I had a 1099 situation, my side clients I had for years. I'd go to their offices once or twice a month, go in. Yes, I use their computer, but I decided when I came and went.
Okay.
And I invoiced them, and they sent me a 1099 for my
Let's
accounting
define
services.
side client. What does that mean?
Side client.
A client on
So,
the side.
yeah, so I worked a full-time job, and I had a couple of clients I took
Okay, I
care
got
of
it,
on
I
the
got it.
side.
And what
Yeah.
was your full-time job?
Accountant,
Okay.
yeah, yep, always an accountant.
Everybody does that, though.
Yeah, everyone does that. Everyone has a side hustle.
You use you're using words like side and hustle. It makes me a little bit nervous because I'm a Yankee, but I mean, it's different. All right. I like it. That was really interesting. The highlights for me of the show are the even numbers. That was big.
Yeah, that's big.
And I like this one, 1099. So if you're trying to get around withholding taxes, you better set some guidelines at work.
Correct. Yes.
You cannot have them working out of your building or whatever. So if I have people down here that I would think that if you're withholding on 30 people, it gives you more credibility.
Correct.
Because then you could have 5 on 1099s and it
Yeah.
wouldn't bear. But if you
Yeah.
got 10 1099s and 2 employees, they're going to look at you.
Or if you have all 1099s and that's all you ever have, and you've got a big business and you've got a huge number of 1099s, that's a problem.
I can see a scenario where that would work, though, where like you have a product and you want it repped out in the world, and you're giving people 1099s to go and do promotional things, but they don't
Correct.
come to your building, they don't do stuff.
They do it on their own, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
can see
I
exactly.
see a lot of it with housekeeping companies.
Okay, explain that.
So they tell them where to go, when to go there. They wear their shirts. They're representing their company to clean houses, but they still want to issue 1099s. Those people are your employees.
That's a good point. That is what they do.
Yeah, they do that. A lot of them do that. I see it a lot
Especially,
with
yeah,
them.
the uniform gets them, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. The uniform gets them and being told where and when to be there. But the uniform is the big one for the housekeepers.
But if I say I need you to clean these 4 houses this week and you make your own schedule, that
Correct.
changes the game.
That
right?
changes the game, yeah. These 4 got to get cleaned at some point. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Men and women in the workforce, any changes over the last 5-10 years?
I mean, I think it's starting to level out,
Are
pay-wise, from what I'm seeing on W-2s.
women better organized as managers? I think so.
I mean, I think so, but I'm
It's
a
just-
woman.
If I give you a stack of $150 bills and they're all mixed up, will you organize them?
Absolutely.
That's you, though. That's your
Yeah,
kid.
I
I'm
got
at the
some
bank and they're
OCD.
doing that. I say, just throw them all in a pile. When I get to the store, they're going to be the same.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't need them 50. I like to get my 20s, 10s, 5s, and 1s.
Yeah.
But I don't care what direction they're
yeah,
going.
yeah, see, I do.
My wife would die if they went in different directions.
Yeah,
My son, too.
same.
They get them all organized. I'm
Yep.
thinking, what are you doing?
Faces facing the same way all the time.
Yeah, I mean,
yep.
but that's something you'd expect an accountant to do. I mean, I guess
Seconds, yep.
a little bit more. I don't know. Maybe a bartender.
Yeah,
Because he don't want the money to get away. How many seconds? 15. All right, we got 15 seconds. One of our best accountants in Oak Ridge just does a great job in Jackson Square. Leanne Sanford, reasonable, growing like crazy. So give her a call if you need help. And thank you for coming on and helping us.
thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.